You've just been told that your child has an educational psychologist assessment booked in, or you have booked an independent EP. What should you do? Is there anything you can do to make sure that you get the very best out of this appointment? It's a wise move to ponder this question, as the EP report is a critical professional report that forms the majority of the content of sections B and F of the EHCP. And as you'll know from our other resources, B plus F equals I. The combination of needs plus provision will equal the educational placement. So here are some pointers from Empowering Families of Children with SEND Limited on how to get the very best results from this pivotal appointment. It's not an exhaustive list, and you should consider your own child's unique difficulties alongside our suggestions. Request that you have the opportunity to speak to the educational psychologist first. Yes, this would appear to be an extremely obvious first step, but if the EP has been engaged by your local authority, this first step is often overlooked. You know your child or young person better than anyone else, better than the SENCO and the class teacher. The EP cannot use your wishes and requests to form their report, but they can take your lived experience of your child's difficulties into account when making their assessments. Anything in a report that states parent reports is likely to be placed in section A, the unenforceable section. However, if what a parent is reporting is also seen and recorded by the professional, it must go in sections B and F. So do say, my child really struggles with, insert struggle. Please, can you take this into account? And if you agree, please put this into your report. Here's a selection of questions you should consider asking before the appointment takes place, and we've included how to reference these to your own concerns. How long will you be spending with my child? It'll be really helpful if I could have this information so that I can prepare my child or young person. Will it just be an hour, half a day, or a whole day? Will you be undertaking any formal assessments? And if so, can you tell me what these are and what they will be? For example, will you be assessing for specific learning difficulties such as dyslexia? And will this be a screening tool or a full diagnostic report? Will you be observing my child with their peer group? Because they struggle, and social communication interaction is a great concern of ours. Will you be observing my child with adults, and if so, which adults? Because they manage very well with adults they know and trust, but struggle to engage with new or unfamiliar adults. Will you be observing my child in both structured and unstructured activities? Because I've noticed that they manage better with routine, and when a task is more free-flowing, they become very anxious over expectations. Will you be undertaking any one-to-one conversation with my child? Due to the above concerns with unfamiliar adults, I'm worried that my child won't engage with you, and they really need this assessment. Can you please describe the strategies you use to overcome this? Please, can you tell me, will you be looking at handwriting and mark making, handwriting speed, reading and reading readiness? Will you be making any assessments for working memory? Will you be making any assessments for processing speed? Because all of these appear to be causing my child or young person difficulties, and they're struggling to keep up with their friends. The teacher tells me they're falling below age-related expectations. Will you be assessing my child's attention, concentration, and engagement in a whole class environment, a smaller group environment, and on a one-to-one basis? Because they appear to manage far better if they're in smaller groups. Will you be able to make recommendations for the need for further assessments from other professionals, like an occupational therapist, for example, to assist with their handwriting difficulties? I'd also like you to identify the situation in which you have observed and assessed my child. Did you make assessments in a quiet, distraction-free area or in a busy classroom? Please, using your professional judgment, can you state how you believe my child would react and respond if the assessment was undertaken in a different environmental situation? And if this report is to be undertaken online by Teams or Zoom, please can you identify this in your report and state that you are not able to observe or assess my child with a peer group in an educational environment, and whether this was beneficial or detrimental to your conclusion on my child's needs. Please ensure that your report is specific and quantitative for sections B and F to support a successful EHCP. Both your report and the draft EHCP will be carefully reviewed and amendments will be requested. I've taken advice and I am aware that the report must be specific and quantified. To inform their decision, the local authority will need to take into account a wide range of evidence. It does not state any obligation that this evidence is solely to be sought by professionals in the employment or engagement of the local authority or the NHS. Now, if you've engaged an independent educational psychologist, now is the time to ensure their report is suitable for a SENDIST hearing. And frankly, if it's not, don't bother, find one that will be. And ensure that the EP will be happy to stand as your witness at any hearing to support their professional findings. You must ensure that all assessments are undertaken by qualified practitioners who are members of the lead associations in their field. This can be checked on the association's website, and do look up the qualifications of any individuals who are assessing your child or young person. Any report must be written within the framework for the assessment process, and it must assess the extent of need and identify where support is necessary. A good benchmark of this is that the professional undertaking the report is prepared to stand by their report as your expert witness at any potential tribunal hearing. There is no legal reason why an NHS or local authority assessment is the only evidence accepted, and we would urge you to quote the SEND Code of Practice, page 145, paragraph 9.14, should this be questioned. If the EP is engaged by your local authority, you should add the following statement. Under my rights of GDPR, I am formally requesting that you provide me with a copy of the report at the same time that you submit this to the local authority. If you are unable to do so, please specify why, as I would like to identify this should I need to go to appeal.